So, the year 1872 is the historic year of two events, the Cavite Mutiny and the martyrdom of the three priests, mentioning Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, and later on immortalized as Gomburza. So, pag sinabi nating mutiny, it refers to an open revolt against authorized government, or particularly or most common itong nangyayari sa mga soldiers na nagre-rebel against their superior, their officers, and so on. So, the martyrdom of Gomburza naman, here we'll get to discuss about the execution of our three priests, mentioning Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and the Jacinto Zamora. So the Cavite Mutiny that happened back then, January 20, 1872, was a failed uprising of Filipino soldiers, including workers and laborers from the Cavite Arsenal. They revolted against the Spanish government, believing na yung actions nila mag-spark yun siya ng wider national revolt. So, during that time, around 200 individuals were involved. So, ayun nga, karamihan doon mga soldiers na kapwa Pilipino din natin. So, these events are very important milestones in the Philippine history and have caused rivals throughout time, directly influencing the decisive events of the Philippine Revolution towards the end of the century. So, mentioning the Philippine Revolution, dito, let's put it in a simplest way. Dito, malalaman natin, madidiscuss natin yung naging impact ng events na yun, which is, mentioning the Cavite Mutiny, what happened in the Cavite Mutiny and the execution of Gomburza as the aftermath of their rebellion against the Spaniards. So, sinasabi nung libro na because of what happened in the Cavite Mutiny back then na noong January 20, 1872, which is yun yung dahilan kung bakit na-execute yung Gomburza, the three priests, na yung execution naman ng Gomburza, sinasabi ng libro na yun yung nag-trigger or parang nag-trigger sa will ng mga Filipino na lumaban palalo for their freedom against the Spaniards, which is yun yung nag-result ng Philippine Revolution. Pero mamaya matatakal natin yan lalo. So, while the significance is unquestioned, what made this year controversial are the different sides of the story, a battle of perspective supported by primary sources. So, it is a controversial historical event because there are various of differences and perspective, like for example, interpretation, and each of those were supported by primary sources. So, alam naman natin kung ano yung primary sources since natakal na yun from the very beginning. So, or tinatawag din natin first-hand evidence. So, but despite its short duration, kasi mabilis namang na-suppress ng Spaniards yung Cavite Mutiny na nangyari before, rebellion ng mga Filipino against the Spaniard community or government. The mutiny is considered historically significant because it helped awakening the Filipino nationalism. So, ito yung sinasabi ko or pinu-point out ko na nasa libro din naman, yung kung saan talaga nag-start yung Philippine Revolution. And alam naman natin yung nangyari sa Philippine Revolution back then, where natalo or tuluyan talagang natalo ng mga Filipino yung Spaniards. Pero it doesn't mean na we're totally free kasi right after ng Spanish colonizer na dumating yung American people. Now moving on to the Spanish account of the Cavite Mutiny. So these generally portray the event as a planned attempt to overthrow the Spanish government in the Philippines. But first of all, tignan natin kung sino yung mga involved here. Which here we have the documentation of Spanish historian Jose Montero y Vidal centered on how the event was an attempt in overthrowing the Spanish government in the Philippines. So, sa Spanish document or account ni Jose Vidal, gisimplified lang na yung statement na yung mutiny is a well-planned ng mga Filipinos para tuluyang matalo or ipatapon or overthrow the Spaniards from the Philippines. So, although later on naging bias din naman yung yung statement niya for some reason, kasi to begin with na he's Spanish, so that it can't be avoided. So another account from the official report written by then Governor General Rafael Izquierdo implicated that native clergy who were then active in the movement towards secularization of parishes. So first of all, we are talking about the secularization of parishes, which in the Philippine history, kasi yun naman talagang pinag-uusapan natin back then 18th to 19th centuries, this aim or yung secularization of parishes aimed to reduce the power of friars in a colonial administration. Primary sources: excerpts from Montero's account of the Cavite Mutiny. So, Jose Montero y Vidal's Spanish account of the Cavite Mutiny of 1872, nakapublish ito siya sa account ni published in Gregorio and Sonia Zaides Documentation Source of Philippine History. Makikita natin ito sa volume 7, page 269 to 273. So, doon na-highlight or na-notes na yung abolition of privileges like the exemption from paying tributes for laborers in the Cavite Arsenal was seen as the causes of the insurrection. However, it is believed na may iba pa itong reason kung bakit nag-start yung kung bakit nagsimula yung Cavite Mutiny na nangyari before. As you can see, na-list down ko na dito yung mga beliefs na ibang reason kung bakit parang encourage yung mga Filipino back then na magsimula ng revolution against Spaniards. So, number 1 is the Spanish Revolution. Here, it was the Spanish Revolution that deposed or nagpabagsak ng monarchy ang nag-introduce ng political ideas for which is very unbalanced kung saan regarded itong political instability dito sa Pilipinas. So in short, the Spanish Revolution created a crack in the foundation of Spanish rule in the Philippines. It made people question the existing order and opened the door to new ideas about independence and self-government. So, it is believed na one of the reason is yung sarili nila mismo yung naging dahilan for which na-encourage yung mga Filipino na lumaban. So, number 2, the propaganda and the press. So, unfettered press, which mean magsisimula tayo sa unfettered press of monarchical principles, eroded respect for the Spanish throne. So, it refers to how propaganda and the press played a role in undermining the Spanish monarchy. So, firstly, when we say unfettered press, ito yung mga press conference na wala silang inaalalang barrier ng information na ilalabas nila, like for which walang gobyernong kumokontrol sa kanila or magsi-censorship ng kung ano man yung ilalabas nila. So secondly, the monarchical principles, which is these are the ideas and values that support a monarchy, hereditary rule, and the importance of tradition and order. So in essence, a press that was free to criticize the monarchy and promote alternative ideas and republicanism gradually weakened the public support for the Spanish throne. Third is the influence of American publicists. So the support of American writers and thinkers provided ideological justification, moral support, and amplified the voice of Filipinos seeking independence and ultimately strengthening their cause. Fourth is the controversial Spanish governor. So the policies enacted by the governor appointed by the revolutionary government put these new, sometimes radical ideas into practices, further galvanizing Filipino sentiment. So it refers to how a specific governor's action fueled the desire for independence among Filipinos. So the revolutionary government we have here refers to the government in Spain that came to power after revolution that deposed the monarchy. So the policies enact, meaning the governor implemented new policies based on the revolutionary government's ideology. The radical ideas, these policies were seen as radical because they challenged the establishment social, political, and economic order that had been in place for centuries under Spanish colonial rule. So may mga ilan tayong example dito sa which is the controversial Spanish governor. So Governor General Rafael Izquierdo and the Cavite Mutiny. So as we all know from the previous discussion, his abolishment of labor exemptions for Filipino workers led to the Cavite Mutiny. So this event, though quickly suppressed lang siya because of the Spaniards, sparked a wave of nationalism, illustrating how policies enacted by a governor could galvanize or ma-fed up yung will nila na lumaban for freedom. So we can as well include Dr. Jose Rizal's writing as a prominent example for the rise of the Filipino nationalism, because his writing became a rallying point for reforms, and until now recognized pa rin ito ngayon. And lastly, we have the role of a native clergy. So a segment of a native clergy na napaliwanag ko naman na kanina pa kung ano yung native clergy. So it is motivated by resentment towards the friars, joined force with those who seeking independency. So adding a powerful elements to the movement. So it explains how Filipino priests contributed to the push for independence. In essence, or a prominent example at least, is the execution of the Gomburza priests, who were falsely accused of inciting the mutiny, galvanized Filipino nationalism, and fueled the desire for independence for a lot of Filipino. At various times, but especially in the beginning of the year 1872, the authorities received anonymous communication with the minute that Flet of Cavite left for the south, and that would be assassinated along with the friars. So yung Spanish authorities back then, naka-receive sila ng warning from about sa planned uprising, which is the mutiny against the Spaniards, anonymously. So hindi nila alam kung saan yun siya nanggaling. So they until now unidentified pa rin ata siya na kaibigan ba yon, Filipino or Spanish, pero nagbigay ito ng warning sa mga Spaniards na during that time, as soon as the Flet of Cavite left for the south, but these warnings from who knows were largely ignored. The conspiracy had been going on since the days of La Torre, with at most secrecy. So, yung origin ng conspiracy had been developing in secret since the time of La Torre, a former Spanish governor-general known for his liberal policies. So, it signifies that the planning of organization of a revolt against Spanish rule in the Philippines has been undergoing during Carlos Maria de la Torre from 1869 to 1871, meaning very well planned yung mutiny na nangyari back then. Principals, leaders, and meeting venues. So, the main leaders of the conspiracy gathered in a residence of Don Joaquin Pardo de Tavera, a Filipino Spaniard, and Jacinto Zamora, a native priest. So, the meeting were frequently attended by the curate of Bacoor, described as the soul of the movement. His energetic nature and significant wealth allowed him to wield considerable influence. So, the curate has a few meanings depending on the context. A curate in a religious, for example, in a religious context is a member of the clergy who assists a rector, vicar, or parish priest. They are entrusted with the cure of souls. That's why they are highly respected. And the curate of Bacoor was Mariano Gomez, by the way. Now, moving on to the excerpts from the original account or report of Governor Izquierdo on the Cavite Mutiny of 1872. So, here, Rafael Izquierdo official report on the Cavite Mutiny, same pa din kung saan na-release yung official statement ni Montero. So, dito naglabas si General Izquierdo ng statement, which is sinabi niya dito na it seems definite that the insurrection was motivated and prepared by the native clergy, by the mestizos and native lawyers, and by those known here as abogadillos. So, this quote suggests that the 1872 Cavite Mutiny was instigated by this specific group within Filipino society. So, highlighting the native clergy, the mestizos, and the native lawyers. Then, the rest is mga individual na lang from Philippines, to which na-highlight din dito yung mga Caviteños and from those from Manila, sorry. So, they protested against the injustice of the government and encouraged the rebellion by protesting what they called the injustice of having obliged the workers from the Cavite Arsenal to pay. So, ito yung nabanggit ko kanina sa previous discussion natin, yung parang forced pay na nangyayari sa mga laborers aside from them being forced to work for the service of the Spaniards. So, these protesters against economic injustice and unfair labor practices were used to mobilize the populations and incite rebellion against the Spanish government. So, take note that the instigator of the unrest and protest mentioned are primarily the native clergy, the mestizos, and the lawyers. So, the instigators were primarily Filipinos who opposed Spanish colonial rule. Naturally, we have the Spanish response, which is the Spanish authorities magnified the incident and used it as an excuse to suppress the growing Philippine nationalist movement. So, they arrested Filipino intellectuals and accused them of complicity, leading to the execution of key figures like Gumburza priest. So, sinasabi dito na hindi alam or hindi ma-determine ng mga Spaniards yung kung ano ba talaga yung plano ng mga Filipino back then sa pag-establish nila ng rebellion or yung Cavite Mutiny. But one thing for sure na if once na mag-succeed sila they plan to install a priest as the head of the government, and the potential candidates for that role were either Don Jose Burgos or Don Jacinto Zamora. So both Burgos and Zamora were parish priests of San Pedro de Manila and were later executed for their alleged involvement in the Cavite Mutiny. So the execution of the Gomburza priest fueled the anti-Spanish sentiment and inspired the independence movement. So the event is seen by many as the beginning of Filipino nationalism that eventually led to Philippine Revolution. So, according to the both account, isalin na lang natin kay Montero because they both highlighted the cause of the mutiny or so what triggered the Filipino to rebel that far. So, the primary cause of the mutiny was the removal of long-standing exemptions from tribute and forced labor work for workers at the Cavite Arsenal. So, yun yung highlight ng dalawang account, which is yung pinag-uusapan kung ano ba yung nag-triggered sa mga Filipino na umabot sa ganung punto. So, the native clergy driven by the resentment towards the Spanish friars played a significant role in the instigating and supporting the rebellion. They saw it as an opportunity to challenge Spanish authorities and gain more power within the church. So, given the fact na both Montero and General Izquierdo is both Spanish, Governor Izquierdo's and Montero's report was biased, portraying the mutiny as a grand conspiracy to overthrow the Spanish government and install a new leader. So, ito yung pinapalabas nila. So, talking about their way para mag-gain ng maraming supporter, the native clergy attracted supporters for which helped them to mobilize a larger number of people to join the rebellion against the Spaniards or the Spanish colonial government. So, the result, the Spanish accounts of the Cavite Mutiny suggested a coordinate effort by the various groups in Manila and Cavite to overthrow Spanish rule through violence. So they allegedly planned to liquidate high-ranking Spanish officers, then kill the friars. So the signal they identified among the conspirators of Manila and Cavite was the rocket fired from the Intramuros. So on January 20, 1872, the fireworks display during the feast was misinterpreted by the Caviteños as the signal to begin their attack. So misinterpret nila yung signal from the fiesta as the signal para magsimula na yung atake nila or yung plano nila. So, yun na nga, led by Sergeant Lamadrid as their leader, the Caviteños attacked Spanish officers and seized the arsenal. However, they mistook the signal. Yun yung problema, na-misinterpret nila yung signal. So, Governor Izquierdo, upon learning the revolt, ordered and sent reinforcement from Manila to Cavite, suppressing the revolt or the rebellion as fast as possible, highlighting the superior military power of the Spanish colonial government. So, walang nagawa yung mga Filipino because of the power kung gaano kalakas yung Spaniards at that time, and hindi din naman sila ganun kadami. So, yun, nag-result as a failed uprising of a Filipino revolt. So, this simply demonstrate the harsh responses of the Spanish authorities and of their rebellion or to the rebellion sa mga Filipino towards the Filipinos. So, others implicated in the revolt, kagaya ni Joaquin Pardo and Antonio Regidor, were arrested. They were arrested, suspended from practicing law, and sentenced to life imprisonment in the Marianas Island. So, yung mga sumali, yung na-mention lang dito si Suhakin, Fardo, and Anton, pero it doesn't mean na sila lang. Pero na-highlight sila na yung mga kasali or na-include during the mutiny, they were arrested. And some of them were imprisoned to life imprisonment at the Marianas Island. So, General Izquierdo dissolved the native artillery regiments. So, it was a direct consequences of the Cavite Mutiny. This action reflected a deep-seated distrust of the native troops and the desire to consolidate Spanish control over the military. So, it could mean only one thing. So, wala nang tiwala si General Izquierdo sa mga native troops ng mga Pilipino. So, for example, loss of trust. So, the mutiny, though quickly suppressed naman siya, it shook the confidence of the Spanish authorities in the loyalty of the native soldiers or the Filipinos. Nawala yun lahat because of the mutiny. Consolidation of power. By replacing native troops with Peninsulares, Izquierdo aimed to ensure that the artillery forces would be composed of soldiers who were completely loyal to the Spaniards. So, sinisigurado ni General Izquierdo na hindi na ito mauulit, na yung mga soldiers na nasa poder nila is completely loyal lang sa Spanish. So, that's why pinalitan niya yung mga Filipino soldiers ng mga kagaya lang din nila. So, on February 17, 1872, the Gomburza were executed to serve as a threat to Filipino to never attempt to fight the Spaniards again. Pero mali pa rin yun kasi because of the Cavite Mutiny, na-encourage yung mga Filipino, na-encourage yung will nila na mag-join force lalo na mas malakas para tuluyan ng makalaya sa mga Spaniards, and thankfully they won naman, pero it's not my topic to discuss na. And by the way, that's the Philippine Revolution.
Good day everyone, my name is Noreen M. Minkong, and our topic for today is differing account of the event of 1872. And we have two other primary accounts exist that seems to counter the account of Izquierdo and Montero. First, the account of Doctora Trinidad Hermenegildo Pardo de Tavera, a Filipino scholar and researcher who wrote a Filipino version of the bloody incident in Cavite. Primary source: excerpt from Pardo de Tavera's account of the Cavite Mutiny. Source: Trinidad Pardo de Tavera, a Filipino version of the Cavite Mutiny in Virgilio Zaid and Sonia Zaid, Documentary Sources of Philippine History, Volume 7, in Manila National Bookstore, 1990. This uprising among the soldiers in Cavite was used as a powerful level by Spanish residents and by the friars. The central government in Madrid had announced its intention to deprive the friars in these islands of power of intervention in matter of civil government and of the direction and management of the university. This uprising among the soldiers in Cavite ay ginamit bilang isang makapangyarihang level ng mga Espanyol at ng Fraile. Ang central government in Madrid ay nagpahayag ng kanilang intensyon na alisin ang kapangyarihan ng mga Fraile sa mga islang ito ng panghihimasok ng mga usapin ng civil government at ng direksyon at pamamahala ng universidad. Ito ay dahil sa mga katotohanan at pangakong ito na ang mga Pilipino ay may malaking pag-asa ng pagpapabuti ng kanilang bansa, while the friars, on the other hand, fear that their power in the colony would soon be complete a thing of the past. Up to that time, there had been no intention of secession from Spain. Walang balak humiwalay sa Espanya. At ang tanging aspirasyon lamang ng mga Pilipino ay masiguro ang material at edukasyon na pagsulong ng bansa. Ang draconian ng mga patakaran ng Izquierdo tulad ng pag-alis ng mga prebihilyo at pagbawal sa pagtatatag ng paaralan ng sining o art at kalakalan para sa mga Pilipino. Naniwala si Tabera na ginamit ng mga prayleng Espanyol at ni Izquierdo ang Cavite Mutiny bilang isang paraan upang matugunan ang iba pang isyu sa pamamagitan ng pag-ihip ng hindi proporasyon ng isolated mutiny attempt. During this time, ang central government in Madrid ay nagbabalak na alisin sa mga prayle ang lahat ng kapangyarihan ng interbensyon sa mga usapin ng pamahalaan, civil government at pamamahala ng mga institusyong pang-edukasyon. At ang prayle ay nangangailangan ng isang bagay upang bigyang katwiran ang kanilang pagpatuloy na pangingibabaw sa bansa at ang mutiny ay nagbigay ng gayong pagkakataon. Gayunpaman, ang Central Spanish Government ay nagsisimula ng isang educational decree na nagsasama-sama ng mga sekretarya na paaralan ng pinamamahalaan ng mga prayle sa isang paaralan na tinatawag na Philippine Institute. Ang kautusan ay naglalayon na mapabuti ang pamantayan ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas sa pamamagitan ng pag-antas sa mga posisyon sa pagtuturo sa mga paaralan ito na punan sa mga mapagkompetensyang pasusulit isang pagpapabuti na tinatanggap na karamihan ng mga Pilipino. And let us forward to the second account and primary source. Excerpt from Plauchot account of the Cavite Mutiny. By French writer Edmond Plauchot complemented Taveras' account and analyzed the motivational of the 1872 Cavite Mutiny. Source: Edmond Plauchot, The Cavite Mutiny of 1872 and the Martyrdom of Gomburza and Gergiuzed and Sonia Zaid Documentary Resources in Philippines History, Volume 7, in Manila, National Bookstore, 1990. General La Torre created a junta composed of high officials, including some friars and 6 officials. At the same time, there was created by the government in Madrid a committee to investigate the same problem submitted to the Manila Committee. General La Torre ay lumikha ng isang junta na binubuo ng matataas na opisyal kabilang ang ilang prayle at 6 na opisyal na Kastila. Kasabay nito ay nilikha ng pamahalaan sa Madrid ang isang committee upang siyasatin ang parehong mga problema na isubmit sa Manila Committee. Nang matapos ang trabaho ng dalawa na pag-alaman na pareho ang kanilang naging conclusion, narito ang summary ng mga reforma na itinuturing nilang kinakailangan upang ipakilala. And we have a 9 summary of the reforms. Una, change in tariff rate of costume and the method of collection. And pangalawa, removal of surcharge on foreign importance. Pangatlo, reduction of export fees. Pang-apat, permission for foreigners to reside in the Philippines. 5, establishment of an advisory council to inform the Minister of Overseas Affairs in Madrid on the necessary reform to be implemented. Pang-anim, change in primary and secondary education. Pito, establishment of an institute of civil administration in the Philippines during the unnecessary of sending home of short-term civil official every time there is a change of ministry. 8. Study of direct tax system. 9. Abolition of the tobacco monopoly. Ang pagdating sa Manila ni General Izquierdo ay biglang nagwakas sa lahat ng pangarap ng mga reforma. Ang mga prosecution na pinagsimulan ng bagong Governor General ay malamang na inaasahan na bunga na mapait na hidwaan sa pagitan ng mga klerikong Pilipino at ng mga praile. Ang ganitong patakaran ay dapat talagang magwakas sa matinding pagnanais ng ibang supilin ang malupit. Tungkol sa paaralan, nauna ang itinakda na dapat magkaroon sa Maynila ng isang Society of Art and Trade na buksan sa Marso ng 1871 upang pigilan ang paglago ng liberal na mga aral. Sinuspende ni General Izquierdo ang pagbukas ng paaralan noong araw bago ang nakatakda pagpapasinaya. Ang mga Pilipino ay tungkulin na magbigay ng serbisyo sa paggawa ng mga pampublikong kalsada at pagbayad ng buwis taon-taon, ngunit ang mga nagtratrabaho sa maestranza na artilerya sa mga tindahan na Enerhiyo at Arsenal na Cavite ay exempted sa obligasyon ito mula pa noon una nang walang anumang uri ng unang preliminary. Isang utos ng gobernador ang pag-alis mula sa mga matatandang empleyado ng kanilang mga pribilehiyo sa pagre-retiro at dineklara ang mga ito sa hanay ng mga nagtatrabaho sa pampublikong kalsada. Ginamit ng mga praile ang kapangyarihan bilang bahagi ng malaking sabwatan upang patibayin ang kanilang pangingibabaw na nagsimula magpakita ng mga bitak dahil sa kawalang kasiyahan ng mga Pilipino. Ipinakita nila ang pag-aalsa bilang bahagi ng mga malaking kasabwatan sa Pilipinas ng mga Pilipino para ibagsak ang pamamahalaan ng Espanyol. Hindi sinasadya at higit pa ayon sa hula, ang Cavite Mutiny noong 1872 ay nagreresulta sa pagiging martil ng Gurguza at naging daan na revolusyon na nagtatapos noong 1898.